Woo! What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at My Cowboys Family, and of course, hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below.
You know it, guys. And yeah, day 2 of this week, we turned the page on the Giants. We thrashed the NY trash, and now we're going to keep pounding the Panthers. That's the hope. That's the expectation from your guy here, MCF, and the family. We'll talk about that and more today as we take a first look at these little grumpy cats. Talk about them, and we'll talk about us here as well. Jerry Jones spoke, Dak MVP, Micah Mad, the LVE update, and much more right here on My Cowboys Family. Before we get going, though, baby, let's shout out those that make the world go round here on the nightly on My Cowboys Family. And you know who's leading it off? It's a takeover here. 3 out of the 4 boards taken over by Jason Renfro.
Ooh, huge shout out to Mr. Jason Renfro as the sponsor of the week, the stream boss, and the membership king.
Yeah, he's the gifting king. Much love to him. And hey, Jason Renfro still hanging on. Even though he's in code red with 38 points, he's still hanging on the stream boss. Trying to go back-to-back in the sponsor of the week. We'll see. But first, let's shout out Stanley Smith. Why? Because he's the Cash App king. He broke the big streak for Snug X. Much love to Snug as he hands over the trophy to Stanley Smith. And the king of the Cash App is him. And by the way, we did have some leaders already. You look at the gifting leaderboard, no one there. No one in the gifting board yet. On the overall board, it's Marissa Sparkle still leading the way. But if you look who's in second place, and I'll mention it in a minute, I want to make sure we all know that last night we had a leader in the Cash App, and it was Snug X. Not Snug Smith, but Snug X. But today, guys, we had Jason Renfro drop a little love pre-stream in the Cash App for $1.19 holler. So he's trying to make a run, right? But still, Snug X was still in the lead until a $20 Tony Pollard holler by Stanley Smith. Go Cowboys. Much love to Stanley. And he is now in the lead on the Cash App, trying to go back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. We'll see what happens. He's also in second place on the overall board. Stanley Smith in the running once again. He's gunning for that top spot again. Much love to Stanley and everybody else. Jason, Marissa, everybody. And go Cowboys. And the pre-stream drops, yes, Jason Renfro and Stanley Smith. We also, have super chats, thanks button, gifting memberships, jumping in the membership side of things. But you look at the Cash App, there's 4 other ways you can jump on this overall board, and more specifically, the Cash App King. How do you do that, baby? The 4 ways.
Of course, you have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, Streamlabs lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
Yeah, and listen, we got all kinds of levels here in the membership, Navy Blue, Silver 2, and then the top shelf, Star level membership, and the Over Everything level membership. Without further ado, here are your shout-outs, and nightly shout-outs for the Star and Over Everything levels. Skeptical fan, the man, Jason Renfro, taking over here. LC, Lincoln Kane from Australia, Mary Alvarez repping it with us here, Andy Potchin in the house, Marissa Sparkle, the current leader, De Lunatic, he's always bringing it, the Godfather here at MCF. And the Over Everything level, you heard from earlier last week on the Saturday pre-game party stream discussion, Seabass hitting the house. Much love to all you guys, and go Cowboys. Now, again, I want to say one last thing about the Star and the Cash App. I'm sorry, the Star and Over Everything levels. We have a special monthly raffle for the Star and Over Everything level members. Sewn and stitched jersey, Cowboys Mosh. You know him. We wear these jerseys all the time. Many to choose from. Many to choose from for the Cowboys. Any team, any sport, but this is Cowboys. And, our Star level members always want the Cowboys. Our Over Everything members, they always want the Cowboys. So there'll be one winner out of right now. I think there's out of 8 people in the Star level or Over Everything level. If you're in that, by Saturday night, you're in the raffle for Sunday halftime. We're going to pick out a winner and name our November champion tonight. Or not tonight, but at the end of the week, at halftime of the game, in the Star and Over Everything level. So good luck to them, and go Cowboys. Now, who's in the house with us tonight to discuss some of this Cowboy news, info, and updates as we take a first look at the Carolina Panthers?
Thank you to the Lunatic hanging with us here. Rolando Rodriguez, much love. Orion Files in the house. Stephen White, hello and hi. Thomas Garrett, the Superior Garrett. Scorpio, who, by the way, is smoking a turkey. and forgot to invite me, but it's okay.
Whoa.
Just kidding. Just no one in our house likes turkey, guys, so I'm alone on my little turkey island. Andy and Boogie, of course. Cactus G in the place to be. Manuel Trillo, much love. We have Little Dallas Cowboy representing. Bruce got the toxic juice. Let me see. James Payne. What's up, James? Trying to go back, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Daniel Berry Sports. Jason Renfro, of course. Skeptical fan, always staying skeptical.
You know,
I believe Freedom First did manage to be first today, so good for him. Mike Aldana, what's up? So, and yeah, hey, Mike, I remember that Turkey Hill ice cream, but I have to admit, Bluebell ice cream
top spot
is better than Turkey Hill, but shh, I'm not allowed to say that. Oh, I guess technically I'm allowed to say that. I live in the South now.
Yeah,
so.
now it's clear. Now you've spent enough time in the South to claim Bluebell.
Anyways,
let's
back
roll.
to you, my love.
Let's roll, kicking this thing off with some of that NFL news. Today's going to be listen, Tuesdays are usually quick, so if you want to get your thoughts in, you want to get your drops of love or knowledge, get them in sooner than later, because we'll be out here before you even know it. Be a quickie tonight, guys, but let's start with NFL news. And you know what happened yesterday in Buffalo? Mismanagement on that 12-man on defense to lose the game and give the Broncos a chance to win it. They did.
Special teams matters.
Yep. And because of that defensive mistake and special teams mistake, today the Buffalo Bills fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. I'm being sarcastic. It had nothing to do with him on that losing part of things, but it's just the overall offense and the way it runs. Ken Dorsey, I mean, he's famous for banging the table and throwing stuff, and it's, you know, when he was he was getting filmed for the Bills in the coach's box up there, and yeah, that's the most memorable thing about him. But yeah, Ken Dorsey's been failing Josh Allen in this offense. He's the scapegoat for the Josh Allen troubles. Keep that in mind. So now who's taking over? Where we get the Bills in about a month. The Bills' new interim offensive coordinator will be Joe Brady, and that's interesting, guys, because yeah, our opponent is the Carolina Panthers. The last time Joe Brady was coaching any offenses was with the Carolina Panthers, and it was ugly. So we'll see how this helps out or not Josh Allen going forward. The NFL also said, when are we left out of this? We got someone getting fired, from the Bills organization. The Texans, Houston Texans, are getting someone suspended. NFL suspended Texas linebacker Denzel Perryman. Why? Well, first they're doing it for 3 games. He's missing 3 games. He'll appeal it and probably get 1 back or 2 back. But it's because of repeated violations of the playing rules, which are intended to protect the health and safety of the players. What does that mean? Well, I'll just say it like this. Sunday, for the Texans, Denzel Perryman, it was his 7th use of the helmet foul. And once you get to a certain number, they can suspend you. And he's been overdoing those helmet-to-helmet hits. So now he's gone for 3 games. He'll appeal it.
It sounds like they're trying
might
to
get a game or 2 back.
Oh my God, Burfict?
Burfset?
Is that his name? Vontaze?
Yeah, Vontaze Burfset.
The reason I say that is just because they're obviously trying to avoid another situation where they end up with a player with a dirty reputation, especially for helmet-to-helmet hits specifically. Yeah,
7th time this year for him. So NFL said you're fired. Or at least you're suspended. No, Ken Dorsey was fired, the offensive coordinator for the Bills. Anyways, those are the 2 moves from the procedural moves there. There's also another move here from picking up players, and we talked about it yesterday. Jason Pierre-Paul was working out with the Saints. Today, he's signing with the Saints. So it's official. He's going to be with the Saints for the rest of the year, making that last run to push, try to get in the playoffs. He's going to report to facility later this week, despite the Saints being on a bye, and he's trying to expedite his acclimation to the Saints and back to football.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's been out. He's old. He's been out for a while. He hasn't been football shape-wise, so he's going to take a little long time. By the time he gets in the role and into the mix of things, it'll be the end of the season, I think, more or less. Now, another veteran pass rusher has been signed today, Bruce Irvin. Guys, today he signed with the Detroit Lions, and they're trying to up their pass rush there. And again, he will be somebody we will see Week 17 of the NFL season. Irvin also going to start out on the practice squad for the Lions, and he has 55.5 career sacks. We'll see how that goes. Again, he was also released and not re-signed. So I think the Seahawks. So now he's back with the team. He's with the Lions for, again, a kind of a playoff stretch run, or end of the season, regular season stretch run into the playoffs. So you see that with Jason Pierre-Paul. You're seeing it with Bruce Irvin. Now, one last NFL piece of news, and I think it's relative to the Cowboys in some ways. But remember that trade we made for Iggy? Oh, I gotta say Iggy. For Noah Noah Igbenogany. We traded away someone for him, and his name is cornerback Kelvin Joseph. Remember, guys, we were going to cut him. Kelvin Joseph was traded away from Noah what was it? Igbenogany. I can't say his name. Anyways, the point is number 19. But Kelvin Joseph today with the Dolphins, of course, we traded him to the Dolphins. Kelvin Joseph was cut by the Dolphins today. So Kelvin Joseph is now a free agent in the NFL. And hey, anyone can pick him up now, right? He's in the waivers, and we'll see what happens. He's a former second-round pick of the Cowboys. They acquired in a trade with the Cowboys. And, right now it's funny because we have the guy we traded for still on our team, although I will say, I want to remind everybody, he's barely played. Week 1, he got a touchdown, I think. But outside of that, I think he scored the first touchdown for the season for us. The funny thing is that he hasn't really been active any other games. So Igbenogany is the guy's on our team, and he stays on the team, while Kelvin Joseph with the Dolphins is released and cut. He's a free agent. Now, some people are saying maybe we should pick him up. We talked about Goodwin yesterday, out for the year, special teams guy. Kelvin Joseph's very good at special teams. So everyone's like, well, maybe we should pick him back up. Whether we do or we don't, the Cowboys didn't want to keep him. Maybe because they had C.J. Goodwin. Now they don't have C.J. Goodwin. Does that change our minds? I'm also thinking maybe Kelvin Joseph's situation, he's not really panning out over there with Miami. And
maybe something's from inside.
Yep, exactly.
Something's brewing, percolating.
I would not be. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
When you first said it, since I didn't know what was going on with him, I just assumed that they had handed down a suspension.
Guys, again, that shooting that ended up resulting in a death of somebody. He was with the people that were shooting him. This thing is still under investigation by the NFL, and it just a matter of when the hammer drops. It might be dropping. It might not. But either way, he's not. I don't think he's working out as a player. And again, with that baggage over his head, maybe they know they just said, let's just get rid of him and cut our losses. We'll see if no one else picks him up. Something's coming down from the NFL, in my opinion. But look, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. If it does, don't be surprised. When it comes to the Cowboys side of this, even though I know we have our second round problems, right? But let's just touch on things real quick here. The Cowboys, because Kelvin Joseph, former second rounder for us. The Cowboys have found 2 All-Pros and 4 longtime NFL starters in the second round during the Will McClay era. So for like 10, 11 years, 6 of them, half of the second rounders, actually did pan out. 2 of them fantastic, 4 of them solid. So we can criticize it. It's a 50-50 shot there at that second round pick, which I don't like to say because Schoonmaker and Sam Williams, I think he's he's a guy we still got to wait to see and judge on him. But Schoonmaker is a bad start. We have all the issues on this team. We know about the second rounders, but
I think it's more about the extremeness of it, because that's the thing. For every Trayvon Diggs, there's apparently like 2 Schoonmakers. That's what it feels like.
Kelvin Joseph.
Or more about the disparity between a Trayvon Diggs and a Schoonmaker. Like, no one's trying to take away talent from Trayvon, but I think I'd rather have a smidgen tiny less talented Trayvon if it meant that Schoonmaker could somehow absorb a tiny bit of that and actually function as a player I think on this team.
And I think it makes the case, the fact that, for example, if we are getting Trayvon Diggses and DeMarcus Lawrence's, and we're getting, Sam Williams, let's say he pans out, and others. If we're getting these guys, then they're there. Trust me, they are there when we get the Kelvin Josephs and when we get a Schoonmaker. These other guys are there. It's just a miss. And it's either a bad miss or a nice hit. So it's a 50-50 extreme. Like you said, it's really the extremes, and that's the thing you can't waste. Now, look,
I think that's one of the reasons why we notice it more here in particular. Because like you said, every team, it's never going to be perfect every draft, right? You're hoping you hit more than you miss. It's more about the consistency at missing in the second round specifically. Like, something about the way that coin toss is landing for us when we're down between 2 guys with Schoonmaker and
Osiris Torrance, let's say, yeah.
There you go. I always forget his name. But when it comes down to those 2 guys, it seems like we're always choosing the wrong direction to go in.
Well, again, I want to reiterate, it's 50-50.
Half the time.
It's not. It feels like more when you hit a Trayvon Diggs, a first round talent in the second round. Then you get someone like, Kelvin Joseph, who may be a safety. I see some people in the chat, and I know we try to use him at slot, at safety, nickel cornerback, all over the place. He didn't work out, whatever the reason.
No offense.
Again, with this defense, with us, useless. With Miami, useless. Using him wrong, maybe, but soon enough, it becomes not using him wrong. It's just he's not the guy. So either way, my point is, you get a Kelvin Joseph, and you get a Trayvon Diggs, you get an All-Pro, and then you get a guy who's a bust. And that's just the way the Cowboys have been hitting on that second round most of the time. But I want to say something about the second rounders. And this is what I'm trying to, because the misses in the second round is where it hurts. They're obvious. You see them, and it's like, what happened there, right? Tristan Hill, another bust, right? These guys are just horrible. But that's why I'm a proponent. The last couple of years, I know we love using our draft picks, but I'm a big-time proponent of getting a solid starter, known commodity that's 3 years in the NFL, or 4. And getting them on our team as a quote-unquote draft pick in the second, using a second-round pick to trade for them. So I'm trying to say, use the second rounder sometimes for somebody else's proven starter. And just focus on round 1, round 3, round 4, round 5. Just second round, well, not every time, but once in a while, you know what? Give up that second round and get a Jalen Johnson from the Bears. And now you got a starter for this year and for the next fucking 5 years with Trayvon Diggs. And that's a smart move, giving up no, they want to go second round or get a Schoonmaker. And then we could have had someone like Jalen Johnson, for example. I don't know if we could have had him. But that's my thought process. Like, we should try to go for proven starters in the NFL that are going to look for money. It's going to cost a little money. But you're getting rid of a second rounder that it's a 50-50 on a crapshoot on if it's good or not.
The lunatic pointing out the real problem with this. When we basically use only the draft for roster building, we need as many hits as we can, and those second round gambles are a push, it seems. So that's why,
that's
it might
true.
Be 50-50 that we're hitting or not
hitting.
It
needs to be 75-25.
Yeah, we lean so much on the draft, it basically is 75-25.
Yeah, that's the importance of it,
The hits hit. But the misses, we feel those more deeply.
Yeah, but again, I think that's a good point too, because we do rely so much on the draft and building our team that way. If you do miss on anyone in the high rounds, that's a big whiff, and we all see it, feel it, and criticize it. So great, everybody making great points. You make great points, Lunatic, some other family members. I think myself as well. We all made great points here. I think the fact that you can find a Trayvon Diggs tells me you can still have success in the second round. It's just that we, like you said, it's the extremeness of the misses that you see them more. It's more obvious, and the team building misses, which makes the draft more important for us. So great stuff there, guys. But let's move on from the draft. Let's keep it moving on and talk about some great stuff the Cowboy team, the players, are doing. We just finished NFL news. The Cowboys today are doing an early Thanksgiving Day at the Salvation Army in Dallas and Fort Worth. So fantastic stuff by the Cowboy players. The Cowboys will be dishing out 600 meals today through the Salvation Army and the homeless people, the homeless shelter there. By the way, Dak Prescott was there. Zach Martin was there. Michael Gallup was there, and on. Defense, offense, special team. Everyone was there. A lot of people, like 20 Cowboy players serving food. Dak was giving his hat away, the Nucci hat.
Oh, yeah.
Dallas back. He was giving. I'm just saying, Dak, they were just integrating with the homeless there, and really great stuff the Cowboys, family there does. I saw that the Trent Zieg, number 44, our long snapper, was out there chilling with the homeless. It was just a great thing to see them over there serving the food and doing great things for the community.
Giving back.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go negative. Fuck the power rankings. Fuck the power rankings. The only power ranking that matters is what? When you're holding that Super Bowl trophy. Only one spot matters, and that's the Super Bowl winner. Everybody else, fuck a power ranking. So, as I know some people like to hear about power rankings, let's go through the list. Do we go up or down after last week's dismantling of the Giants? To me, we're the same. But other teams might have went down. Blogging the Boys, they went from 7 to 5. They went up. NFL.com from 8 to 7. ESPN 9 to 7. USA Today went from 8th to 7th place. Yahoo from 9 to 7th. So you're seeing a lot of 7th. Best team of the NFL kind of thing. CBS Sports had us at 7th. Moved us to 4th. A little more love from CBS Sports. The Athletic, man, they're really hard on us. We were 12th last week. We're still 12th. But I don't know about 12th, but I agree we shouldn't really move much. And Sports Illustrated has had us at 9, moved up to 7. Like 90% of these places are putting us at 7th. So I guess we're the 7th best team. You know what that gets you at the end of the year? Nothing. Zero. Zilch. So fuck a power ranking. Now let's look at actual...
You didn't win the Super Bowl based off of that?
No, can you believe that shit?
I don't get it.
So when we look at these teams complete, right, and you look at the true analytics, whether you like the power rankings, that's opinions. Analytics are a little more guided. Doesn't mean it's fact though. When you don't win a Super Bowl with the analytics, but let's look at we look at the power rankings. Look at the analytics for this week, after week 10, and kind of the NFL tiers for teams. The Niners are tiered by themselves in number 1, believe it or not. Cowboys are next, by the way, with the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Eagles a little behind those guys. So you see the Cowboys, like overall, we're looked at as right now analytically the second best team in the NFL. The Niners and Cowboys are the tops right now. And when you look at the Cowboys, specifically defensively, only the Browns and the Ravens are ranked higher than us defensively, analytically, defensively. We're the third best defense analytically, and again, the second best team analytically overall. But on offense, we're only behind the Niners, the Dolphins, the Bills, and the Eagles. We're the fifth most efficient analytical offense in the league, and the third best analytical defense in the league for a team that's second best in the league by the analytics. Just another guide. That's pretty good to be in the top 3 defense and the top 5 offense, especially after that start we had on offense. Woo, man, what happened? That's great. I love it. We all love it.
I was just about to say, I think that just kind of backs up what we, again, have been seeing the last few weeks, right? We are a good team, a dominant team. We're progressing upwards. We just need to, say it with me now, do it against the good teams. Do it. Honestly, that is literally the only thing that you can say that we are missing so far, because even the things that we still need to keep working on or are still figuring out, like all of that is still better than it was before. Right? Like, yeah, we don't like to see McCarthy having to call a timeout the second before we get a dumb penalty, but guess what? 2-3 weeks ago, we were just getting the dumb penalty.
Unfortunately, we called the dumb penalty. We avoided the penalty, called timeout. What do? Throw an interception this game against the Giants. But, that's one time. But, yeah, I know what you mean. I know what
but you know what? Yes. Even that, overall consistency is up. That's Dak's 5th pick of the season. 5th? 6th?
5th or 6th?
Sorry, 6th. That was officially his 6th pick of the season. Which still, like I said during the game, you could double that and you still have less than Josh Allen. So, and that was before they had even played.
And what I'm hearing today? You know what I heard today? That they're saying it's the coaching scheme that screwed Josh Allen. That's what I actually heard from analysts on ESPN. And thankfully, a former Cowboy, Marcus Spears, said, hold up, wait a minute. You criticize him for fucking 15, 16 interceptions already. He just doesn't matter about the scheme. He's just throwing bad passes.
Exactly.
And that's the difference between him and Dak.
And we've said it before. Exactly. Like at some point, obviously not every single one is on the quarterback, but when you have that many, you can't tell me that a few of those aren't decision-based interceptions.
Oh, of course. And Dak had someone last year.
Oh, yeah.
But 15 or 16, people are like, what?
Dak was,
well, 6 of them are knocked up in the air.
I was just about to say, you know what Dak was leading in? Interceptions because of tipped passes.
Yeah, he was number 1 in the league last year.
That stat held up real freaking strong.
Josh Allen also had a couple fall through people's hands, bounce up in the air, but most of them, more of his are ugly. More of his are thrown just question mark. At least Dak tried to thread the needle or something on some of those last year. This year, much more efficient.
Yeah,
Dak.
So exactly, Justin D. Fine-tune the machine one game at a time. And again, that's why these next, 2/3 weeks are going to be so important. We have a few teams we got to whip their ass, and then after that, we have some serious football business to take care of.
So Seahawks get us home turf. Seahawks get us primed. The Eagles, that's when we kick it off. So look. So again, guys, that's the situation there. I just wanted to go over that offensively, defensively, how we stack up overall against these other teams in the league. But let's also talk. You talk about fixing things. We've talked about how we got to fix. We're getting Brandon Cooks involved, more Rico Dowdle. Want to see this and that, more Sam Williams. We got to see where's Mozzie Smith doing better. What do we see this week? We've seen all that shit. Yeah, I mean it's fantastic. We still can see a little bit more of other things. But we're getting there, right? We got 2 more games to fine-tune shit, and then Seattle, we practice it on. The Eagles, we execute them on. Yes. And that's hopefully what we do from then on against the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, Washington, playoffs, Super Bowl, beyond. So anyways, you see I already got it all in my head, just already leveled out. But let's talk about what the update. We know about fine-tuning our team, but we got some guys that cannot be fine-tuned. CJ Goodwin's out for the year with the season-ending pectoral surgery. And LVE is also out for the year with that neck injury. That was said yesterday. Today we got more information about it.
Let's clarify that. Yesterday it was implied, and it was said, sources close to the star are saying LVE's out for the year, but Jerry 100% confirmed it today. And
let's start off because Jerry Jones did speak about LVE today and the situation. He spoke about a couple of things. Actually, Dak Prescott, MVP, a couple. But LVE today, this was announced on 105.3 The Fan today when they were talking with Jerry Jones. But I'm leaving LVE up for a second because it was officially now he is going to be out for the remainder of this season. It's official, 100% done deal. Better or for worse, it's kind of, to me, I was kind of expecting this. When he first got injured, it said 4 weeks. I'm like, we'll see how it's really 7-8 weeks. We'll see the whole year. He's done for the year because of that neck injury. But also, and this was implied yesterday, but definitely now much more on the table, that his career is in question, in jeopardy right now because of this neck injury. So Jerry Jones spoke about this. He confirmed to 105.3 The Fan today that the reporting on what happened to linebacker Leighton Vander Esch with that neck injury, confirmed that he's out for the season. So what did Jerry Jones say in full kind of quote here, baby, about LVE?
I would say that's accurate. We had just completely left it up to how he was evolving, but of course it's a very significant loss for us. He's an integral part of the defense out there. We just wish him well. The nature of his potential injury here causes me to really think long-term and beyond what it means for next week or beyond what it means for next month relative to the team. It has everything to do with what's in his best interest. And as far as his future, I mean, Jerry was honest, actually surprisingly honest here. He said, I don't know. There are a lot of factors involved. He needs to see how this continues to heal and then go from there. If he wants to expose himself to injuries. So he's already basically saying it. It's not even so much that LVE can't come back from his current injury situation. It seems very likely he will eventually be able to come back. It's more, does he want to risk possibly injuring himself to the point where he needs another surgery? Because it sounds like from the state of this current injury, he's kind of on the border of choosing that as an option. Yeah, I mean, is the point.
If Jerry's talking about this, we saw this but first of all, he played when we were there for that draft in Dallas. It was a crazy draft. We have the video up still, but hey, the thing about that is that he was a 7-on-7 high school player. He went to Boise State, whatever, not the greatest school. And then he had the neck injuries already. He had some other injuries. Remember, it was an undisclosed injury. We talked about this when he was drafted. We were like, we're not happy about getting this draft pick. And again, he panned out to some extent, but this was the fear. I mean, you got some comments in the chat there. The Lunatic remembers. He remembers, right?
Yeah, if you were with us back in the day, he said it. Play the clip what you said when we drafted LVE MCF. It was the issue since the beginning. Yeah, more than the 7-on-7 school, more than the wolf hunting or whatever the heck it was. It all came down to this. It seemed like the neck situation was a concern.
Wasn't it a bulging disc or something?
Yeah, so that was what he ended up officially having. He had something else, though. Can't remember off the top of my head every detail, but the point is he had some kind of other neck situation injury thing previous to the bulging disc that made us all go,
Yeah, that's a worry.
You sure you want to do that, Cowboys? So... And don't forget, this was also right off the heels of having gotten Jalen Smith. So, there were other factors going on, although obviously out of the two, we all know who panned out better.
Yeah.
So, and I agree. The adjustments made by this organization as far as offense and defense are definitely happening at a much faster pace than before. It's funny because it feels like our defense was actually playing catch up on the scheme there, but again... Missing LVE, missing Trayvon Diggs, those are bigger hits than what the offense has had to deal with with the temporary loss of a few offensive linemen.
Mike Aldana said we drafted another Sean Lee, and I think we kind of said something like that, And then I think that, Cactus G said a great line here, damn good thing we discovered Bell. Marquise Bell, who, that's a Dan Quinn find. That's a Dan Quinn usage and manipulation of how you get his best skill set at linebacker. He's a safety. Undrafted.
The type of talent you find from the pressure of necessity, again, that's another thing that you have to admit the Cowboys tend to do pretty well.
But I do not agree with Marinelli. He didn't do it. But Dan Quinn does it. He doesn't hit in everything, but he makes something out of nothing, and he does it a lot. That tells me, when you look at Marinelli and Dan Quinn, who's the better coach? It's not even maybe in his old days, Marinelli was better when he was younger. But now in these last decade, there was no question. I mean, Dan Quinn's a master compared to Marinelli in the last decade and a half. So.
Yeah, wasn't it some kind of a hip thing for Damone Clark?
No, Damone Clark had the neck issue. He had the neck fusion surgery, which is the same thing that LVE had as well. So we got another neck infusion.
The Cowboys hear neck fusion, and they get all tingly.
They get happy. I don't know. But yeah, Damone Clark that's a good point bringing it up because Damone Clark has these same issues, although his didn't seem to be as severe as concurrent or as often as happening to LVE. I mean, he didn't even know he had an issue. When he went to the combine, Damone Clark was told, by the way, you got a neck issue and you're going to have to get that fused. And the man came back in record time because the surgery has gotten better, and the Cowboys are masters at that, believe it or not. So if anybody was going to draft him and do something with Damone Clark and make something of him, get the most out of his career, it's the Cowboys in the 5th round. Great pick for the Cowboys, I believe. See, 5th round guy like that, Damone Clark, every day of the week you take that if you're the Cowboys. But the same guy in the 1st round in LVE, yeah, you stay clear of that. Stay close.
Dallas Count 92 saying, I was calling for James the safety that year, and Rashaan Evans is now a Cowboy.
Yeah,
so,
that's funny, isn't it?
hey, it's kind of like Trey Lance setting up a Cowboy too. So, eventually all roads lead to the star. Oh, shout out to you, Snug X. Much love to you as well.
Snug.
So, yeah, and that's the only thing that makes me go like, okay, maybe Damone Clark will be okay, because you're right. He didn't even know he was hurt. Yep. He found out the same way all of us found out.
He came back on that field faster than anyone thought. The surgeries are now, technology has even gotten better, and they know more about it. The Cowboys are at the forefront of that.
Unfortunately, the LVEs of the world had to kind of take a hit in order for the Damone Clarks of the world to maybe keep on playing another day.
I mean, Damone Clark's going to probably have a longer career than LVE. We hope, knock on wood. As far as neck issues, and it might still be a hindrance, but it might happen over a span of 8 or 10 years instead of 6.
I can tell you one real easy reason Damone Clark is going to have a longer career. Last time I checked, LVE, when he first started his career, was playing behind a different D-line. I'll just leave it at that. So LVE was out there taking hits meant for defensive linemen for a solid 2-3 years before the rest of the team came along to help.
Didn't have any Jonathan Hankins out there taking out 2 guys at a time.
He was the Hank.
Yeah, he was getting the hits from the center and the guards.
The reason I say that, though, is because one of the reasons that we're obviously bigger fans of Micah playing linebacker, it's not just about using Micah to the fullest extent of his ability. It's because of that longevity factor. You still get that Micah Parsons impact without having Micah Parsons getting impacted. Anyway, back to you. I know. You take that a few different ways.
It's going to be back to you, but I just want to make sure that we're good in the chat. Sure. And you got it, baby, because Jerry Jones... Actually, LVE, we discussed it. We can still touch on him a little bit more, but his season's over. His career may be over. We're hoping the best for him. We got Damone Clark. We got Marquise Bell. We got, Micah Parsons to jump back there if needed. I know we got Rashaan Evans. He can't even play right now unless we get him. Again, neither him or Malik Jefferson can play for the Cowboys anymore unless we sign to the 53. They're both still not on the 53. So we really don't have anybody else. Rashaan Evans cannot play anymore for us. Malik Jefferson cannot play unless they get signed to the active roster. So that is it. That's all our linebackers. Those 3 I just named. Micah's our 3rd.
No,
then we got J-Ron Curse and Donovan Wilson to help.
Obviously going to make some kind of roster move adjustment here shortly. Again, Jerry's comments, remember he already said it. He's like, I'm not just thinking short term, I'm thinking long term. Now that we basically know this is where we're going.
Well, I think he's talking about LVE on that one, too.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he just meant, obviously, specifically with LVE, but obviously I took that as a statement that works both ways. I think he's also talking about just the linebacker position in general in the sense of we have to think about it in the short term and we have to think about it in the long term. So, obviously, in the short term, we're going to need these guys for depth.
Yeah.
So, and obviously in the long term, I'm sticking with my original statement of,
early draft.
O-line, linebacker, first and second round. Wiggle them around however you want, but those are the first 2 picks we're making.
Well, I hear you, baby. I hear the chat. Hit the like, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. Much love to the sponsor of the week, the Takeover Man. 3 out of 4 boards. Jason Renfro, who's also the gifting champion. And 38 points. Still sitting with 38 points. Oh, Jeff Heath number there. 38 points for Jason Renfro on the Stream Boss. And then if you look, of course, the Cash App King. Much love. Much love to Stanley Smith, who, by the way, is also the leader, trying to go back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. Marissa Sparkle in first place on the overall board, and no one yet on that gifting membership board. Anyways, back to Jerry Jones and back to you, baby, because Jerry also spoke about Dak Prescott MVP? Question mark? Let's see what did he say, baby? Give me the whole full context, because Jerry Jones, basically is pumping up the hype train again here for Dak
Jerry
Prescott.
Jones hype machine, because he
how that goes.
I certainly do. As in he believes that Dak should be like
an MVP
in the
conversation.
MVP conversation. He's put games together that are the best of his career, in my view. And the best right at the top of many that I've seen. It's the fact that he's doing them back-to-back, and of course, his play and how he's impacting those games. I don't want to say he's making it look easy, but boy, is he really in a position, not only physical, but it's mental. He's really showed us all hard work, all the time he's put in, and frankly, the adjustments that have been made the past year. We're really seeing the fruits of that. If you put the work in, and you take it to the practice field, and you take it to the game, then it pays off. He is the best I've ever seen from taking the classroom to the field, and we're seeing the fruits of that.
I love, Jerry Jones talking, again, he's hyping it up. But, again, I kind of understand, Dak is a very, he will take the orders, and he will go out there and do them to the best of his abilities. And whatever those orders are, whether it's a skill set or not a skill set, right? And so, again, I think that
Like when you're taking the general leading your soldiers into battle, Dak is absolutely top tier there. And honestly, a lot of what Jerry is saying is not necessarily wrong. Maybe I'm just a little biased in the sense of, like I think the point is that you have to remember when it comes to MVP discussions, we have to almost view them in a bubble. If you're looking at just this year and what's happened, Dak should be at least in some of these discussions. I'm not saying he should be at the top of them, but he's got to be included in the mix.
I do have a little list for you.
Considering how the rest of these quarterbacks are playing in the league this year.
The current betting online AG MVP odds. Here we go, guys. All right. Jalen Hurts 300 to 1 odds.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes 325.
All right.
Lamar Jackson 650. Tua 675. Joe Burrow at 1200. CJ Stroud, the rookie, 1200. Brock Purdy 1800. Christian McCaffrey 1800. Jared Goff at 2,000 to 1, and Dak at 2,800 to 1. So right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and Dak Prescott is not the 10th best quarterback in the league. He's right now the 10th best player in the league according to the MVP poll right now, or not poll, but betting on these betting odds. He's got the 10th best on that. Though? No offense. I agree. There's a couple guys here. Should not be ahead of Dak, but. The thing is that there's still a lot of names ahead of him, right? More than you maybe would have thought. You might think he's maybe top 6, 7 in the whole league as far as MVP. No, he's 10th right now by these odds.
I'm willing to admit that some of those guys are probably playing better than Dak has been.
The facts are, though, when it comes to MVP, Christian McCaffrey ain't going to win it. That's a running back. That's not happening. So rookie C.J. Stroud, it'll be 44. I think 44 years or 60-something years since the last time a rookie won the MVP. I don't know if it's ever happened. A rookie came in the league and won an MVP. So that would be mind-blowing, right? So that's two guys probably not going to do it. I'm sorry, Brock Purdy is not going to do it in my mind. Neither is Jared Goff. So you got Dak at like 6 right now, truthfully, right? Like Tua, Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. I don't know. That's like the 5-6 guys you see there. To me, that's where it'll probably end up being. And you know why, though? You guys might hate me for this. Don't hate me. But this is what I'm talking about. This is the hype machine of Jerry Jones. He goes, take a look at the schedule. The Giants. All right. Well, we play the Rams, blew them out, one of the worst teams in the league. The Giants. The Eagles had a bad pass defense. I'm going to be honest about that. The Giants have a bad defense. Panthers have actually the best pass defense. The Panthers up until the Bills and the Dolphins. So the best pass defense we're going to face right now is going to be in the second half of the year is the Carolina Panthers. Yeah. So that's our next game, 1-8. Then you got, of course, Washington, one of the worst pass defenses. Same thing with Seattle, a 20th ranked pass defense, and then the Eagles, who are getting in the 20s in the pass defense. My point here being, and I'm not judging this. I'm totally pro Dak here, but his stats you're gonna see Dak in a lot of MVP talk the next couple of weeks. It should be. Because you're going to see Dak dominating in the air against easier defensive backfields and defensive teams, pass defenses. So that is why you're seeing the best back-to-back games. Because, again, bad defenses. Now, I will say this, though. I want to make sure I clarify this.
Crappy teams back-to-back.
No, bad defense. Bad defenses. Because the Eagles are not a bad team. They may be the best team in the league.
You're right.
And so my point is that we played good teams, bad defenses, pass defense, but it's still even bad quarterbacks cannot do it. Even good quarterbacks have trouble of beating down the bad teams all the time consistently. Dak does that pretty consistently. So what I'm trying to say is
it is hard to be consistent in the NFL outside of consistently shitty, and then usually you don't last long enough to be consistently shitty.
That's why it's the best of the best, right? The ones that can handle it can do it. Dak's had so much practice and so many kind of Cowboys, quarterback, America's quarterback. It's like he's got all this eyes on him for years and years. It's like nothing now. It's like I don't think he feels that pressure, and that's what you started to see from him in this. What was the 8th season for Roma when he started seeing things differently and reacting differently, and this is Dak's year now. You see it at the beginning. It was the coaching, and then you see him when the coaching actually expanded the aggressiveness of the attacking of the passing game down the field. You saw Dak do great.
Yeah, it does seem like Dak. Speaking Pokemon terms, he's evolving. Right? He's on his second, maybe third, final evolution.
It's a final evolution. This is it right here. This is it. There's no more evolution for Dak.
Exactly. It's not. I don't want to say it's not ever going to get any better than this, but that's the reality. Dak right now, it is at his peak. Because of the combination of mental ability, right? He's not a rookie. He's not a young guy anymore. He's got that veteran experience. And also, he still has a relatively young and healthy body. So the next 2 to 4 years, and I'm including this year in that span of 2 to 4 years, are going to be his make or break money making years. That's it. You said it the other day too. Even Peyton Manning wasn't out there winning Super Bowls until he was in year 8, 9, 10 or something like that.
Yeah, like 8, I think, or 9. The point I'm trying to say is, I think
just throw all the numbers out there.
I want to make sure we clarify this because I know some people are like, well, we played shitty teams or shitty defenses, and I agree. I'm with you. Still, Joe Montana didn't just decimate every bad team he played or every bad defense he played. Sometimes he struggled a little bit. Dak doesn't struggle too much against the bad teams. And that's a skill in itself, is all I'm trying to say. And we're playing a good team like the Eagles, and we still, Dak did a lot to get us in that game, and he had a great game statistically in that game. But look, again, what I'm trying to say is, yes, the defenses aren't that great, but Dak's still doing his job, and you can see him reading the field better. You see him reacting better. You see him trusting the scheme and his players better, and that's what's important. Not we won by 40. What's important with Dak is what he's finally evolving here in this scheme and this team with his players. That's the key, and it's all coming together. At least these are the weeks we just got to see it come together. Then we get the real games coming up. That last run there in the last 5 games of the season and the playoffs. That's what we need this team to be at all full fucking cylinders, baby.
No, Rare throwing out there too. Dak torched the Jets defense while others are struggling to just score.
Exactly. That's my point. People want to say, the Cowboys, they're easy. Okay, the Jets aren't that great. They're still actually average. But their defense is above average. People were like, because every time they move the goalposts when we decimate a defense, and that was running off the shitty McCarthy conservative offense. With this offense now, we would have probably scored more. I'm just going to leave it at that. We would have been better in the red zone in that game against the Jets. We could have put up more points. So, yeah, we embarrassed a Jets defense that's doing really good against really good quarterbacks and other really good teams. So, 100% on that. And that's what I'm trying to say. Dak, we need a signature win. I know somebody said that in the chat. We're still looking for that signature win. I agree. But every team we play, it seems like we're supposed to be 10 times better than them, except for 2, and we lost to those 2. And we got upset by the Cardinals.
And that's why I said that out of everything we've done so far this season, there really is only one more monkey to get off our back.
That's beating
a good team. Well, and our next closest chance is the Seahawks are definitely on the better side of good. But let's be honest. So we're all looking at that Eagles game as the real litmus test, the real marker for where the heck this team is at. And if we can fix our freaking mistake.
The Seattle game, by the way, it's a tougher game, but it's not a game it's a game we should win. I don't think we're going to blow them out, but we should win. The Eagles, of course, is a very good team, a top team, but people are going to say they have a bad pass defense. If we beat them, they're going to say, well, that's because they have a bad pass defense. Guys, mark it, book it. It's going to happen. And, the Bills are going to say, well, Josh Allen sucks. And the Dolphins are going to say, they're going to just say different things for all these things if we beat these teams. But the key here is it's simple. These are all teams that are supposed to be good. They're all good teams. We played, a bunch of average or below average teams, and now there's only so many good teams in the league, right? If we're 7th, well, the 6 teams that we can't play, it's hard to face all 6 teams ahead of you, right? So you're going to face some average and mediocre and shitty teams. So we're just getting our point of this. The Eagles hit some shitty teams too this year, and they struggled. So, they struggled against the Patriots, so we handled the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? I can say that about the Eagles all the time. They beat us. And I'm going to tell you this. I truly believe we will beat them, and we'll beat them a lot more than they beat us in Philly. We're going to be in better shape than the Eagles will be come week 14. But listen, fuck that. We got to worry about the Panthers. We're going to talk about them tonight. But I want to finish talking one last thing, baby, about Dak Prescott. Because I know that, I'm sure the chat has a couple other things to add to this. But NFL passing leaders, best passing quarterbacks right now through week 10, Sam Howell from the Washington Commanders with over 2,700 yards. C.J. Stroud with over 2,600 yards. Tua Tagliabue over 2,600 yards. Josh Allen 2,600. Goff 2,507. Patrick Mahomes 2,442. And then Dak Prescott. Yeah. 2,415 yards already for Dak. And he had a very, very slow start. Dak is the 7th highest, most yards thrown this year in the NFL. 7th best in the NFL. And Dak is 16th. Here's a little comparison. He's only 16th ranked in passing attempts. And just it's context, guys, because he's 7th most in yards, but he's 16th in attempts, which means he hasn't even thrown for that many. He's not thrown as much as some of these other guys, a lot of these guys. And he's 17th in attempts since week 6 now. We're talking about since things kind of twisted after the bye week. Dak was 17th in attempts and 2nd in yards. He actually had less attempts the last 5 weeks, less attempts in the first half. but more yards, second in yards in the NFL for that time span. That shows me that Dak Prescott, he's clicking. And yes, we played the Chargers, which everyone considers pretty good. The Eagles, of course, the Rams, the Giants. Too good, too bad on there. But when you look at that, the Cowboys, I will say, Dak Prescott finding his way now with Mike McCarthy in this offense. So, anyways, just wanted to throw that out there when it comes to the quarterbacking stats. I don't know if anybody had anything to say in the chat, anything, really quickly to hit up on something.
A few things here, obviously. But I do want to also say here, Skeptical Fan said if they can get to the playoffs, of course.
Yeah, percentage is pretty high, 80-some% to get in. I think
3 of the next 4 games are at home. Carolina's the only away game, so
Correct.
we need to take advantage of the schedule.
Correct, exactly. This is we can't get too light, right? We cannot relax. But we got back-to-back games after Carolina. 4 days later, we got Washington. A week later, we got Seattle. Right, guys? And then 10 days later, we get Philly. So and those last 3 are at home. This first one against Carolina, the next 3 at home. So we got this.
So Cactus D said Dak will be number 1 by week 16.
If this path continues, yes. And I think he'll be number 1 from, let's say, week 6 and on by next week. If he can obliterate the Panthers and the Washington Commanders, and we can handle the Seattle Seahawks, Dak should be number 1 in a lot of categories since week 6. Since the offensive scheme by McCarthy started to alter. So, anyways, here's our Dak discussion there for the night. Now, what about the Jerry Jones discussion? Because Jerry Jones actually had a couple other things to say about not Dak Prescott, right? He had something to say about Rico Dowdle.
A little blurb here, yes, about the man, Mr. Rico Dowdle, saying he's a violent runner.
Yeah.
He runs with great skill. I'm so proud for him. He finally put together the running back that he can be. He's outstanding, and it really gives us a 1-2 punch in there.
Yeah, especially when you add in there with Tony Pollard, right? Tony Pollard the 1, Rico Dowdle the 2.
I kind of assumed that was the 1-2 punch he was talking about there.
Baby, the man. Snug X is back in the membership. Why? Because he's boogieing on in. NDN Boogie. He's in the membership, and NDN Boogie gifting a little love to one of our family members who didn't have a membership. Now he does. He can drop those new emojis, by the way. The Carolina Panthers emojis. Keep pounding those emojis in the screen. There's not enough fans probably to see them from Carolina. But much love, the NDN Boogie. And congrats to the man, Snug X. That's the first drop of the night, I think, officially, right?
Yes, it is. So thank you again, NDM Boogie. Appreciate you showing the love, the support. Shout out once again to the man, Snug X, and everyone here. Drop him if you got him. Yes,
appreciate you always, NDN. Hey, by the way, we got a new leader on that gifting board. Hell yeah. So
Skeptical Fan even threw out there, I've got no gripe with Dak right now since he started using his legs again. Again,
and a lot of other things too.
But my point is that it's a lot easier to, be accepting of Dak Prescott and heck, even accepting of some of his mistakes when we're playing.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's the same reason that Jalen Hurts right now, no one gives a crap about all his interceptions because guess what? They keep winning, and guess what? They keep moving the ball down the field. So, Dak Prescott, I would still like to, like I said, continue to see mistake-free football. I don't want to get all, pick happy the way that Hurts has either. But I'm just saying, just the way that everything is being done, it makes sense. It works. I love it, and I think it brings out the best in Dak.
That's the thing. We might not win a Super Bowl. We might, I don't know. But my point is, it brings out the best in our player, in our offense, in our quarterback, and that is the most important thing, without question. I think Rico helping also would be an important thing for this offense, to help this offense.
By the way, Justin D said, Cowboys have a love-hate relationship going back to Staubach. You remember how they treated Danny White?
Oh, yeah. I remember. I remember Danny White. A punter first, by the way. Quarterback punter when Staubach was there. But then I remember him as our quarterback. That was my first jersey. Was Danny White and Tony Dorsett. 11, 1-1, 3-3. Now those are important, right? Damone Clark, 3-3. And 1-1 Micah Parsons. Yeah, I should pop that one back out. I didn't know I was going to get a Micah Parsons jersey before Micah was even born. My first one. Anyways,
that's a good one.
Jerry Jones breaking down the Rico situation, and I do agree with him. Rico Dowdle is an important piece. I think we need to use more. And then McCarthy last week said, I'm not going to change anything. We used a little bit more of him this game. I think we'll see more of him as the games go on. And McCarthy did not speak today, by the way. I do want to say that. And any quick comments in there? I want to check something real quick, maybe, and I'm gonna finish this thing up with a little bit of a couple, kind of receiving stats, and then we're going to break down this first look at the Carolina Panthers.
Justin D said, Tony Dorsett was the first poster I put up in my room.
Hell yeah, TD. Man, I was sad when he went to Denver Broncos.
I think mine was Jesse McCartney. So, same thing, right? Same thing. Let me see here. Yeah, James Hurst said, until Dak beats San Francisco, it doesn't matter. Now, I agree and disagree. Disagree in the sense that unless we're specifically facing San Francisco, I don't think it really matters. But right now, we need to, once again, we got to beat a good team. So we don't necessarily have to beat the best team, because guess what? Even the best team, tends to get a bit of a break and play the crappiest team, and so on and so on and so on. So the way that the playoffs are shaping up right now, San Francisco does seem like the team to be, at least, as far as the way things are probably going to match up.
I'd say the Eagles would have something to say about that.
But we're not, we gotta stop stealing my lines. My point is that, by the time we even get to that situation, we have to beat the Eagles before all of that, before we even get to the playoffs, before we even get to, heck, we can't even get barely past Thanksgiving before it's time to go and lay the smackdown on the Eagles. Hopefully.
Yeah,
so
2 birds back to back.
We have at least one other litmus test, so to speak, right, with the Bills game, and I'm just saying that that's the other kind of actually tough team that we're facing off against in the future. So outside of that, you can make a very strong argument that the rest of the games are just games we have to do our jobs in.
To me, it's a little slanted against the Eagles because we know the Eagles so much better. And somehow, we know each. It's always a close game. So to me, if we beat the Eagles,
a close game and a tough game too.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm saying every time we played them, it's a close game either way. It's because we know each other. It's always a battle. We always get a beating. We always beat them in one of the games. We always seem to split it when we're both good. So I think that's the key, though. I think the Niners we don't know as well, and the Cowboys don't take it personal for some reason. By the way, yes, the lunatic had his Ed Too Tall Jones metal lunchbox. Beaten to hell, but it was mine. He said, yeah, I remember those days. I forgot which lunchbox I had, but I think it was just the cowboy helmet. It wasn't a player. It was the old school 80s helmet. Anyways, let me bring up a new school 88. CeeDee Lamb. Right now, NFL receiving leaders through Week 10, Tyreek Hill, 1,076, A.J. Brown, 1,005. CeeDee Lamb is third with 975 yards, baby. 900. This guy was at like 400 a couple weeks ago. 975 yards. He's 25 away from a 1,000-yard season. Obviously doing it in much less than even the 16-game season. And, hey, he's had a real chance to break the all-time record by Michael Irvin, which is about 1,602 yards, I think. I mean, shit, he might do that in 3 weeks if he keeps getting 150-yard games.
If this is what happens when when CeeDee Lamb reminds everyone, hey, I'm here, maybe you
throw me the ball,
right?
Scheme for me. Don't do the same mistake you had with Amari Cooper, So scheme me into shit, and that's what McCarthy finally did. So Keenan Allen after CeeDee Lamb 975 yards. Keenan Allen is 895 yards. That's fourth. So it's really just 3 guys within 100 yards from each other: Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown, and CeeDee Lamb. Everybody else drops off the map after third place. So keep it going, CeeDee Lamb. Let's see it. Now, here's another big thing, baby. You know who has the most receptions of 20 or more yards this year? CeeDee Lamb. He has 22. A.J. Brown is second with 18. So he's got 4 more. That's a lot. CeeDee Lamb has 4 more. And CeeDee Lamb has 489 snaps. A.J. Brown, 593 snaps. So he's having like over 100 more snaps and still 4 less big play, 20-yard, big play for your offense. So Keenan Allen has 16 and Tyreek Hill at 16. Ayuk has 15. Jefferson has 14. He's been banged up. He's coming back. But Justin Jefferson probably at the top of this list if it wasn't for his injury. I'm just saying, guys, George Pickens, Amari Cooper's on the list at 13. But what I'm trying to say is CeeDee Lamb, above and beyond everybody else in the league, including a guy like A.J. Brown who has minimal snaps. I'm sorry, not minimal. Has over 100 more snaps than CeeDee Lamb. It's still a second to CeeDee Lamb when it comes to 20 yards or more big play throws, catches from him, receptions. CeeDee Lamb is easily, to me, playing in the best stretch of his career and playing the best stretch and the best he's ever played in his career, without question. He's taken over. He's taking over the receiver spot. Forget about us.
The good
NFL.
thing is about CeeDee Lamb, it's one of the few real bright spots because he's been good even against the teams that handed us our ass.
I agree.
With the exception of the beginning part of the season, which
we've
already discussed.
He actually had a great game against the Jets in that game, even with the poor offensive scheme, right? That was I think he had over 10 catches and over 150 yards that game. So CD still did his thing. It was more sporadic. It got more consistent when we had a better, more aggressive offense. So, by the way, the highest graded wide receivers for Week 10. It was fifth. That guy on your screen, CeeDee Lamb. He had a 90.7 rating. By the way, 90 is elite. So he had an elite rating that day. This Week 10, CeeDee Lamb was fifth. Amon St. Brown was fourth. Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Lions. Was third? Noah Brown. Yeah. He's tearing it up.
At this point, former Cowboys should just all identify themselves.
A higher comp pick for the compensatory pick. Keenan Allen is number 2 on this list. Do you know who's number 1? This guy. Brandon Cooks last week was the highest graded wide receiver in the NFL. So, again, from going from nowhere to boom, he's first place. He's the best. If this season was 1 week and it was Week 10, we have the best receiver in the league, and his name is Brandon Cooks, not CeeDee Lamb. Even though CeeDee was 5th on this list, number 1 is Brandon Cooks. We had a 1 and a 5 when it comes to ratings of the analytics for this week at the receiver position, at the wide receiver position. So just want to throw that out there. We're cooking. Our receivers are cooking with Dak Prescott and this better scheme from McCarthy. One last guy to add to the mix here, tight end Jake Ferguson, number 87. Again, I said he has 3 straight. I said it last night. 3 straight games with a touchdown every game. 3 straight games with a touchdown. That hasn't been done since 2019 and Jason Witten. But another thing I want to say about Jake Ferguson is about the red zone. Jake Ferguson leads the NFL with 10 targets inside the 10-yard line. We're talking about the redder zone, I guess. But that 10-yard line into the goal line, he leads the NFL with 10 targets within the 10-yard line area. So that tells me the Cowboys are, number one, that Cowboys are targeting him in the red zone, obviously, more than any tight end in the NFL. Okay, and I say the red zone, I guess it could be 20-yard line, but I'm talking about the truly first and goal, whatever end goal situations usually. You're seeing Ferguson being a hot target for the Cowboys, especially when you look at, all targets in the NFL inside the 10. Jake Ferguson is number 1, and he's got 10 targets already after 10 weeks. 1 target a game in the red zone it averages out to. So I just want to throw it out there for the McCarthy offense. Dak with the evolving. And
Johnson Cowboys throwing out there. Dak looks very comfortable with the offense now.
Yes.
I feel very good about the second half of the season. And, I think that, you want to sum it up in one way, you're right. Dak looks comfortable there, driving this ship now. So it feels a little bit more natural and organic and not so put on, So.
And he has that trust. You can see the confidence, the trust. And I think it's more about not having it in the players as much. I think it was more about not having it in the scheme. The scheme changed, and it fit Dak. I think McCarthy was holding back the aggressive, kind of attacking aggressive down the field offense that you're seeing now. He was holding that back because he wanted to, make sure the offense could handle it and feel trust or whatever it may be. I don't know, but with more motion, more play action, with Dak using his legs, with bunch formations and 3-by-1s, isolating CeeDee Lamb as the one sometimes by himself. We see that happen in the game with the big plays we had with him. I called it right. We were watching it. We had CeeDee Lamb by himself isolated, taking over the Michael Gallup role sometimes, and that was dominant. So the Cowboys have found through the analytics team came on late, in the offseason. They're, I think, are really guiding and helping some of the coaching decisions that we're going with as schematic things throughout the season. And McCarthy's accepting these ideas from the analytics team, which is a good thing because it seems like it's working. So, again, everything seems like with Dak Prescott, and it's not just, that's why I kept telling people it's not just Dak. Yeah, he could move the ball more, but it's the play calling. It's the play calling and going to Dak's skill. You can't have everybody doing curls. We're back to Lenahan again. And that's what we were doing the first 4 games of the season. And that changed. Then the whole offense, not Dak, the whole offense changed. Everyone got better because the offensive scheme by McCarthy fit these players' skill set better. And he finally unleashed it, maybe instead of holding it back. Who knows if that was the plan? I don't know. Somehow in my mind, I keep thinking, because we did that and when we were coaching, somehow I keep thinking that may have been the McCarthy plan, is just to hold it back as long as we could. And once we couldn't hold it back and it was too much heat, let's open it up and bring out the silver package. So anyways, as we keep it rolling, I do want to remind everybody a couple of things, baby. Why don't you take the helm?
Everybody take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and of course, hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below. Of course, an extra special shout out to the people helping to make MCF happen here on the daily and the nightly, like our sponsor of the week, Jason Renfro, our stream boss, Jason Renfro, the membership king, Jason Renfro, and the Cash App king, Stanley Smith.
Yeah, much love to everybody. When you look at who's in the lead right now, NDN Bookie is the gifting leader right now. He's got 1 on that board. Stanley Smith is the Cash App leader, trying to go back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. And if you look right above, you see her name right now, actually, Marissa Sparkle, star-level member, edging out everybody else right now as the overall, I guess you say, sponsor of the week leader for this upcoming week. We'll see what happens there. She's currently in first place. Now, let's talk about the final part of tonight's show as we wrap this up. Quick little first look at these Carolina Panthers. Again, guys, no deep dives. I'm not going to get into this game in any way like anything important. I'm just going to kind of give a quick little roundabout view on these guys. But drop those emojis. If you haven't dropped them yet, take a look at them here. There you go, guys. A little Jungle Book look right there. You got the crying. That's hopefully what we're going to see after this game. A crying little bitch-ass Panther.
Send them back to the jungle.
That's after we kept pounding, as they like to say. You got the Pink Panther. Well, I guess the Carolina Panther. I don't know, but that's what they're going to look out of sorts after this game. That's the expectation from me. They'll be grumpy. Yep. Not nope. Yep. I know they're saying no, but okay, that's what we're looking at for these guys going forward. Now look, when you look at this game coming up, guys, and I'm going to leave the crying Panther up there for a second. Here's the thing, guys. They're still, even before this game, the Washington Commander game, which is about 8 days to go before that game. The Cowboys are currently 9.5-point favorites for that Thanksgiving game against Washington. Keep that in mind. This week, for the Panthers game, we're getting the number 1 Fox crew once again. Only one time we didn't get it this year. That was the Arizona Cardinal game. We've had the top broadcasting crew from the channel, ESPN, CBS, NBC, Fox, every single week but week 3. This week we're getting Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. We got them last week. We're getting them again. They'll be doing the play calling for the Cowboys-Panthers game this Sunday. Now, Frank Reich is he used to be the quarterback of the Bills. Frank Reich is the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and he opened his press conference saying that they're still evaluating what and how to handle their own lineups. That's a team in disarray right there, guys. They're still evaluating what to do. They're talking about rotating certain guys in, and when they have some depth players that they want to try to fit there and getting on the field. So it looks like they're trying to work some backups. Not for this game, but the rest of the season. It seems like they've given up the season. It seems they want to see what they have on their team and make decisions by the end of the year. That sounds like the plan going forward for the Panthers. So that should mean an ass-kicking by our Dallas Cowboys. But Frank Reich also said that whoever's been calling the offense, and he didn't say who was calling it. Yeah. Because it could be him. It could be Thomas Brown, the OC. Either way, it hasn't been good enough. They have not done a good enough job in calling the offensive plays. Again, he didn't say if it was him or Thomas Brown. Either way, Frank Reich said they're still evaluating the lineups, have not made a decision who is going to be calling the offense yet for this week. They have not. He has said they have not decided it. So, again, the Panthers in tears.
Yeah, they'll probably figure it out at the same time we do.
Yeah, we'll do it at the same time they do. But they're right now they are all over the place. They are dysfunctional. Right now, when you look at this, okay, we talked about Dak, MVP, all that stuff. Carolina Panthers, they're 1-8 right now this year. Already looking ahead to kind of next year, as I just said. But they're a rookie quarterback. Hopefully, some upside for him. But he's not having a good year for his rookie year here. Quarterback Bryce Young. another hit for them is that he's not been anything close to what C.J. Stroud has looked like, right? The second pick there of the draft. Again, Houston lining up, they're happy with their draft pick. Panthers, not so much at this moment, right? They're kind of, I'm going to say they're kind of grumpy about that right now. Either way, the Cowboys are obviously heavy favorites, all right? I think the Panthers lost last week to the Bears, right?
Yeah.
Thursday night. So, they're struggling against the Bears. Come on. So, Cowboys are heavy favorites. Obviously, we know this. 11 points or whatever it may be now. No, is he 11? Yeah, I think 11 points. The Cowboys still don't play well on the road. We have to go to Carolina and beat this team. Case closed. The Cowboys are 2-3 away from AT&T Stadium this year. And if you take away that 40-0 blowout against the Giants to start off the season in New York, the Cowboys have been outscored on the road, 115 points to 69 in their last 4 road games. So that's very bad. And I'm talking about the Charger game is one of those games included in this thing, right? So, again, we've been more blown out by the Niners, you know what I'm saying, and kind of 12-point loss to the Cardinals. We haven't won by much on the road. And so that's the big difference there. So this could be closer than people expect. It better not be in my mind, but I understand why people may think that. Panthers should not offer much of a challenge. But the same thing was said week 3 against the Cardinals. So I guess if the Cowboys cannot, the Cowboys lost 28-16 against the Cardinals. If the Cowboys cannot remember that and say we can't have another game like that and we lose a game, and then this ain't the real deal team guys. They gotta keep pounding these Carolina Cockin' Panthers here. You look at, again, guys, it's an early game on Sunday. It's a 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 Central. But it's on Fox. Again, I told you guys, Greg Olsen and Burkhardt, they were calling the game. Quarterback battle here, right? Dak Prescott, I already told you guys, 7th best quarterback in the league in yardage, 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Bryce Young, rookie, he only has 1,560 yards right now, and only 8 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. So he's right there, very average as a rookie, right? Mm-hmm. Micah Parsons spoke about this. Actually, he's defending, Bryce Young and saying basically he was on his podcast today. Yeah. He wanted Trayvon Diggs on his podcast today. Trayvon's like, I'm gonna be, Micah's like, the people want to hear from you. I'm sure Trayvon's probably feeling a little bit also isolated because he's not with the team as much. So I think Micah's trying to get him in the mix. So maybe next week I think he said he's going to try to get on there. Tonight's show or yesterday's show, Micah brought on Stephon Gilmore as his guest. And Micah also spoke about Bryce Young. He spoke about a couple of things. Last week he spoke about Dak Prescott should be MVP. Now we're talking about MVP Dak, right? A lot of people are talking about that. Now you're talking about Bryce Young. And Micah Parsons saying, let Bryce Young develop. He says comparing Young to like C.J. Stroud is unfair because Stroud has a better overall situation in Houston. Not much better, but it's a better situation than the Carolina Panthers do right now. That's what he was saying. That's just paraphrasing. What did he say, though, baby? What did Micah say himself about Bryce Young, the first pick of the draft?
So part of it is, again, that people just want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? He said, do they regret not taking C.J. Stroud? Absolutely not. Even guys like Trevor Lawrence who struggled. Look how well he's doing. He grew. Yeah,
exactly. Some of these guys did real bad their first year, and they looked a lot better, as they developed in the first, after a year or two. Even if they're first overall picks or first rounders.
Exactly. So he basically also said that it's unfair to compare C.J. Stroud and Young because Stroud has a much better situation in Houston, while obviously Carolina does not.
Exactly. I kind of mentioned that as well. Yeah. So Micah just shouting out, giving a little praise there to Bryce Young and hey, let him develop. Now, when you look at the rest of our offense versus their offense right now, you see in the rushing side of things, Tony Pollard not having a great year, right? 135 carries for 529 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's it, 2 touchdowns. The Panthers, their leading runner has 94 carries. That's a lot less than Tony Pollard. And Pollard has 529 yards, but Chuba Hubbard, has 351 yards and only 1 touchdown. So they are pitiful running the ball as far as statistics are concerned, or having a guy taking the load there. Tony Pollard doing not that great. Chuba Hubbard's doing much worse than him. Receiving yards, we know about CD, baby. CeeDee Lamb, 68 catches, 975 yards, 4 touchdowns. Who's their top guy? A guy we talked about actually in the offseason, Adam Thielen, who has 68 catches, the same as CeeDee Lamb. for 652 yards and also 4 touchdowns like CeeDee Lamb. So you're seeing kind of what they have there. Very little firepower on offense. Not really a good offensive line. They got, obviously a below-average running back. They got an older receiver now, decent guy, but a little, but maybe a little bit above average for him. And when you look at this game, the Panthers, again, NFL worst record at 1-8. Right now, they are the favorites to get that number 1 pick, although I think it would be the Bears. The Bears would have 1-2 this year, I think. And again, the reason why, the Panthers traded up to get Bryce Young. They gave up this year's first-round pick, this upcoming year's first-round pick to get Bryce Young. And, now they don't have a first-rounder next year, at least not going to have this top pick here. So, again, I will say one thing, though, about Bryce Young. The only win the Panthers had this year was against C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. Yeah, and they're a decent team right now with C.J. Stroud. So, again, Bryce Young has had his share of quarterback issues, on a team really short on talent on offense. Let's be honest now. Bryce Young ranks 29th in the NFL with a quarterback rating of 75.9. He's going to make a lot of mistakes. He's going to make bad decisions. He's going to overthrow guys. He's going to have a lot of incompletions. That's just what's going to happen with Bryce Young. He ranks 29th at a really bad quarterback rating. He's only thrown 8 touchdowns, like I said, and interceptions, 7 of them. The Panthers have scored over 20 points just 3 times. And not once since October 15th have they scored over 20 points. So, again, guys, out of 10 games, they've only scored over 20 points 3 times. Against our defense, they shouldn't score. They should not get into the double digits. I'm just going to let you know. That's my opinion there. So, when you look at the Panthers, who else do they have on their team? Adam Thielen. Thielen has been maybe the most consistent offensive weapon for this pitiful offense. The 10-year veteran spent his first 9 seasons in Minnesota, has 68 receptions. He has 7 more. Again, with just 7 more this year catches, it'd be the most in a single season since 2018 when he caught 2018 113 catches. One of his 2 Pro Bowl seasons he had. Thielen also leads the Panthers this year with 4 touchdown catches. The Panthers' top pass rushers on defense, Brian Burns, no question. We've seen him before. He's very good. He has 5 sacks already this year. He's coming off a career-high 12.5 sacks last year and has at least 7.5 in sacks in each of his first 4 seasons. So, dominating player, Brian Burns. I know he was banged up a couple weeks ago. He's back out there. But he still has 5 sacks. And he hasn't had, again, this year, he hasn't had at least 1 sack in every... He's had a sack at least in one sack in every other game. So, again, last week he didn't get any sacks against Chicago. That means he's due for a sack this week when it comes to...
Probably a few, but yes.
Well,
at least 1.
Well, he only gets 1 every other week. It's been like week 1, yes, and 1. Week 2, none. Week 3, 1.
Has he had any multi-sack
No.
games?
He has 5 sacks in 10 games, and it's every other. So this is the game he's supposed to get another sack.
All right, so you know what? No, then I'll go ahead and make a super early bold prediction.
He's not getting
multi-sack game. Why not?
Oh, fuck that. I'm saying no sack. I'm saying no sack. We're breaking that shit. That's what I'm saying. That's my guess.
Cracking me out.
So anyways, there we go. Here's the Pink Panther. Now, finishing up here, guys, the last thing I want to say about this first look. 2 things, actually. 2 defensive players that were drafted right next to each other. Micah Parsons. The Knots was mad, was angry last week, or this Sunday after the game, because he didn't speak with reporters. He didn't really get any stats, but he really did great out there. But it's a frustrating game. I think Dan Quinn talked about that too yesterday. But he wasn't too excited about his performance in the win over the Giants, despite dominating the performance by the defense and a dominating performance by Micah. And what he was doing produced turnover and 5 sacks. Micah Parsons didn't have a sack, didn't have a tackle on the official stat sheet. So, again, that's a big hit for Micah's pride there. But look for him, like we saw about Brian Burns every other week. Micah's hungry. He didn't do anything last week. Micah's going to be hungry to get at Bryce Young this week and take him down hard and often. And on their side of the ball, the guy who got picked a couple of spots before Micah, I think a spot or 2 before Micah Parsons, when the Panthers grabbed J.C. Horn. That's one of the players the Cowboys really wanted to bring in 2021. Of course, we got Micah Parsons. But J.C. Horn, guys, taken by the Panthers at 9, 1 pick ahead of the Cowboys. Then the Cowboys traded back and got Micah Parsons, But J.C. Horn been battling through injuries in his first couple years here, first 3 years. And now, of course, he suffered a week 1 injury, hamstring injury. And he's been out since then. He's finally getting close to a return. The Panthers have designated for him to return, from injury. Doesn't mean he's going to be active this week. But they've opened his 21-day practice window. If he is healthy enough and be acclimated enough, he could play this week. We're going to keep an eye on that. I don't know if he'll be 100%, but if he is or isn't, doesn't matter. He'll be out there, good for them. I still doubt. I don't think he'll be able to get on that field after just 6 days of practice or 5 days of practice after not playing since week 1. But we shall see. So just some little intertwined stories in there. We're going to get deeper on guys like Brian Burns, J.C. Horn if he plays, a couple others on the defensive side of things. On offense, of course, they don't have much. We talked about the 3 guys. Bryce Young is their really big name guy, and Thielen, you got him up there. But this is a game that we should own, we should control offensively, defensively, special teams. I'm going to say this again. I think this is a hidden little gem. I'm going to leave it with this when it comes to my discussion tonight as we say goodnight. But I want to keep an eye on the fact that the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers pass defense, their passing defense are pretty damn good. Reiterating this, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to double check it, maybe it went down a little bit, but I think they were 4th best in the NFL at stopping passes, passing offenses. And that is something that we have been obviously, not great on the ground, but really good passing the ball. An average defensive pass team, we should tear them up. They're a very good one. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is a good test for the Cowboys when we got to get better defensive passing teams late in the year and in the playoffs. So the Panthers, they're solid on the pass defensive side. Do not overlook that. We're going to talk about that this week. I think that's a Thursday thing we're going to discuss. Tomorrow we're going to talk about our Big D against their Week O. And then, of course, Thursday will be our Texas Coast offense versus a very good pass defense. Maybe we'll be able to run more this game. Maybe it's what we have to attack them with. But if we attack right, I think we can do well in the air as well. So we'll see what happens, guys. Again, a lot of times the reason why they're not actually they're getting good numbers against the passing because teams stop passing when they're blowing them out. If Panthers are getting blown out, then the offense doesn't have to throw that much anymore. Just run the clock out. So that might be a fool's gold there. But I'm going to watch that.
Dowdle got his touchdown. It's basically the same reason.
Yeah, it's like garbage time stuff. They look better because teams are running more than throwing more the whole game against them. So that maybe they're also good in the pass defense. But I'm going to start off with saying they're good in the pass defense, and we'll take a look at it. By Thursday, we'll know. So, guys, we'll talk about that and so much more. Baby, I'm going to hand off the reins of the chat tonight. We're wrapping it up here on MCF. So you can do a couple shout-outs here, a couple comments, and we'll call it a night.
Let me see. The Lunatic saying 1.5 games behind Filthy, but we will take care of our side against Sunday. You know it. Asmodeus said, is that a picture of Tigger or Simba? Both.
You know better, baby. Who was that?
It does kind of look like... actually, it is, yeah. Tigger from Winnie the Pooh.
Okay, so that's what I thought it was Jungle Book. But
it gives Jungle Book vibes. I can't remember the guy's name, though. But definitely some Jungle Book-esque situation there.
But this is Winnie the Pooh, right?
Yeah, it looks like Tigger to me. By the way, Rare said, Miami and Lions put up 42 points on the Panthers. We should be putting up similar. So, I agree. Again, this is another one of those... We should be putting up 30-plus points, and, well, if they get to double digits, good for them. So, I'll give them more credit than I give the Giants. And we keep rolling with the shout-outs, so Dallas Cowboy 92, The Lunatic, Rare, Asmodeus, James Herr, Stick Aguilar 04, Justin D. We have, of course, The Man, The Lunatic. Pioneer in the house as well. Drums and Cowboys, much love. James Herr, have a great night. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody here. Leaving you, little Dallas Cowboy. Thanks for hanging with us. Skeptical fan, always staying skeptical. Mike Aldana, have a great night. Dirty South MVP, take it easy. And yeah, that's as far back as I can go at least. Then you come back down, Bo Smith. Have a great night. Thanks for stopping in here. Hello and hi.
Baby, let me know why we do this each and every night here at My Cowboys Family.
I think it's because of that navy blue, that silver too, And that star over everything.
Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly here on My Cowboys Family. We rep that star over everything. And here on this channel on YouTube for 6 years and beyond. Oh, Bo Smith in the house, member for 5 months in that navy blue crew.
Sharing his membership message. You know what he said?
Let me know. What did he say?
I hope they stop Bryce Young.
Well, we should, guys. We should stop him because everyone's pretty much stopped him this year. So if we don't, we got bigger problems then. We will stop Bryce Young. And if we don't, we're looking for criticism on this defense is what's going to happen. Much love, Bo. Appreciate you, and go Cowboys. As I said here on MCF, YouTube, 6 years and beyond. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys. And you see my shirt? Let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long. All night. Thank you, guys. And also appreciate the drops of love from above. Jason Renfro in the Cash App. Stanley Smith, the king of the Cash App, the leader in the Cash App. And NDM Boogie, the leader in the gifting membership side of things, gifting that membership through SnugX. Thank you all for rocking with us, dropping the knowledge, dropping the love. And now it is time to clock out and drop out for the night. Relock and reload tomorrow for another one. As we take a look at our Big D against the Panthers keep pounded.
Remember, the first real injury updates will be coming out tomorrow as far as any kind of post-game nicks and bruises.
Practice stuff. You expect to see Jordan Lewis on that with the shoulder. Either way, guys, we'll talk about that and more tomorrow as we head back over here at MCF for another one. But, baby, before we can clock out and drop it for the night, let everybody know, before we can get out of here for the evening and start over tomorrow, what do we got to do before we drop out of here?
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. That beat's been dropped. Thank you all for joining us here for another Cowboys chat on My Cowboys Family, or MCF, MCW, and the family. You guys dropping your knowledge, a little love, and always about that navy, blue, silver, and star over everything. Here on MCF, yes, another Cowboys chat in the books. LVE and his injury, he may be in the books, unfortunately, for not just this year, but his career. I hope not, but we're all hoping not. We'll see what happens, guys. And again, Jerry spoke. A lot of stuff about MVP, Dak Prescott, a lot about Rico, a lot about LVE's injury, and more. We discussed it here with you guys tonight. Panthers first look, they get a little teary-eyed. They know what's coming. Here in MCF, it's about that navy blue, that silver too, that star over everything. Never, ever forget the number one thing right here, My Cowboys Family. Much love to everyone in the house. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another one, guys. Make sure, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe if you're new, and the notification bell so you know we're going live, as well as the Discord, chat in there. Check that out. And of course, all social media, X, Twitter, whatever, at My Cowboys Family. Guys, everybody, have a great, safe rest of your night. We'll see you back here tomorrow for another one. Peace, and never ever forget, go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat.